Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here, Angelus, son of Abaddon. And this morning, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about brainwashing. Every day, the world, people in general, are being hit on a subconscious, subliminal aspect from everything that you do. It's almost like living in, say, for an example, Korea or Islam, you know, nations, things that are going worldwide. But it's not just there. For 2,500 years, the population of the world has been led to believe that witches, warlocks, magi, and sages are evil. We even see this in the modern day Wicca and pagan traditions, where if you even utilize the definition or terminology warlock, you are automatically an outcast. A warlock is viewed as evil. It is a term given to those who have betrayed their oath to their coven because they sought information outside that coven. We see where scripture has been given to people, fed into them, where their offspring is indoctrinated right out of the womb into Christianity, the mainstream JCI. This has been done for 2,500 years. That's 2,500 plus years. We see their need for control, and they will do whatever it needs to be done to remain in control. They control the governments of the world through scripture, through indoctrinations, their rites of ceremony. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you saw a government official being sworn in, either as DA, judge, or even a political sovereign being sworn into office that was not sworn into by the JCI Bible? Truth is, never. You never see somebody being sworn in by, say, the Satanic Bible, the Witch's Bible, or even, say, for an example, the Demonic Bible. You don't see it. It's always the King James Version, the JCI. Even in Hollywood produced productions, such as commercials, you're being brainwashed into believing thin is sexy, that warlocks are evil, that good overcomes witchcraft. Druidism is more powerful or more potent than that of mainstream sorcery. Wicca versus Satanism, or Christianity versus Satanism. It's the same old bullshit. The same old, same old. Even in today's world, you have those playing the bad guy to the church, like the COS, the Church of Satan. and more commonly, the more comical attributes. The TST, the Satanic Temple, playing into their little atheistic virtual realities, associating criminality and things that deal with abortions and sacrificing. Basically, it's human sacrificing, really, if you think about it. Child still into the womb, the first trimester. Oh, let's just rip it out. Well, is that not considered murder? Is that not considered child sacrificing? You see my point there. They just released a video yesterday that was obtaining their highest goals as a foundation, claiming to be Satanists. Truth is, they're not Satanists. Neither is the COS. They're nothing more than atheists playing an image. One of the things I was having a conversation with today with a young lady on Facebook was people believe that Satanism is evil, that it's of the devil, that it has everything to do with wearing black all the time. Okay? Black clothes. That it's about associating with criminal activities. Now, let's just focus on this account for just a moment. Number one, a Satanist can wear whatever color clothing they want. White, black, red, green, it doesn't matter. Satanists don't have to wear black 24/7. Hell, I don't. I wear red shirts, dress shirts. I wear white dress shirts. You know, it comes down to the occasion and what I'm doing out and about. You know, sometimes I'll even wear a sports jacket, a cold gray one, that a friend of mine used to wear before he perished. The image of the creepiness of the whole thing plays in. Now, when I lived in Texas, this is the ass end of what is known as the Bible Belt. They believe that Satanists and Satanism is associated with criminal activities such as human trafficking, child sacrificing, thefts, and everything in between. What are we, living back in the satanic panic? Late 80s, early 90s, where every crime is associated with religion? Think about it for just a moment. Some believe that Satanism is a philosophy. Well, it's not just a philosophy, it's also a religious practice. And I'll get to this in just a minute. They believed that basically the same bullshit that was told to them by the church, the Catholic Church, a Roman Catholic monastery, a bishop. This man was removed from his church after false ideologies were made, accusations, claims. He was transferred to southern Texas, way, way down by the border. I believe it was El Paso, if I'm not mistaken. And he was transferred there forcibly by a cardinal from the Vatican after his dirty laundry was aired to the public through news outlets. The entire region was fined heavily by the Department of Justice and the American Civil Liberties Union. because of all their criminal activities. But yet, Satanists are evil. You got movies like Witches of Endor, or was it Witches of Eastwick, which shows warlocks being evil. You got the Warlock series that show warlocks as being evil, agents of the devil. You have witchcraft movies such as Birthright, Satanic, both the old and the new model. I believe it was Sarah Hyland that starred in the newest one. That was a pretty good movie, dealing with a cult, not the occult, but a cult in the backwoods out in LA. And how they stole certain things and became possessed and ended up killing themselves. A little bit of time travel was mixed into this movie as well. Now, personally, it was a good movie, but the original was more realistic. It was more Manson style, if you wish. Charles Manson was a cult leader, a cult leader. That's C-U-L-T, cult, not occult, as in O-C-C-U-L-T, but cult member. He and his family went on a mass murder spree. Basically, this was around the time that back in the late 80s when the Satanic Panic was just kicking off. Around 1990, they released a movie called Satanic. Very good movie. It dealt with a woman with brain trauma from an accident, a car accident to be precise, and she was trying to get her life back in order, but it was like she was living two lives. And it turns out that the original character, the original daughter, was the serial killer. Supposedly she made some kind of pact with demons. Well, I don't know about you, but every demon I've met through invocation and evocation has never required me to kill. But how would you know that? You believe in the JCI, mainstream stupidity and dogma. It's like today with the whole COVID-19 thing. I looked at my boss and I said, "Welcome to the Third Reich." She looked at me like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Well, think about it. You can't hold hands. You can't be within 6 feet of each other. You got to wear masks and gloves and hats and all that bullshit. Well, let's see. Islam have to have face coverings. Social distancing. Constant propaganda playing on radios. North Korea. Even Viet Cong. Think about it from world perspectives. You're seeing this more and more, and people are still blind to the stupidity of it. I mean, if you're too afraid to catch a common cold, I mean, what's next? You're going to be too afraid to wipe your own ass? Think about it for a moment. Just think about it. Everything is surrounding the book of Revelations from the JCI, the Judo Christian institutions. Who do you think's really running the world? They call it the First Order, the elite. I'm reminded of when I lived in Texas. I was told, if you're not part of the good old boys group, you're not going to get very far. But think about it for just a minute. Just take a moment and think about everything going on. You got all these health gurus telling you what to eat. One moment they're saying salads are good for you, the next, oh, it's bad for you. Hmm. States are locking down. States literally locking down, being countries being closed down, too afraid to do anything, separating the lower class from the upper class, subdivisions, encampments. Think about that for just a moment. I want you to think about this because I want you to see the bigger picture here of brainwashing techniques. How many of you sit there in front of the TV day in and day out, watching the news, wondering when the next terror attack is going to take place? When's the next legal issue coming up? Who's going to be going into office next? What are they running for? What's the latest movie coming out? You're going along with the herd conformity. In the workplace, you're going towards uniforms. Uniforms. Instead of individuality, you're going to be looking just like everyone else from a private school setting. Hmm. Think about businesses. If you don't have a degree from a college stating that you graduated from college, from a certain program, you're not going to get that manager position, even though you've been at a job for, like, say, 5, 10 years and you have the experience and they take somebody fresh out of college and make them a team lead. They make them an ASM or give them their own store, all because they have a piece of paper. You could you have to go to school to have a degree to state that you are a medical professional. Hmm. Find that interesting that this has only been around for about 100 years, but yet people have been practicing herbalism and medical healing for over hundreds, hundreds of thousands of years. This is why they were known as wise men and women, people of renowned knowledge, the keepers of the knowledge, going all the way back to the Paleolithic era. Shamans use herbalisms. They live off grid, but yet you have people who want to live off grid being forced to be a part of society. Hell, even where I live today, my family was being accused of being loud when my son's in bed by 8, and we're normally in bed by 8, 9 o'clock, just chilling out, watching Netflix, reading books, being silent. And yet the big reason behind it was that we weren't a part of the community. So they're trying to force our hand. Do you not see this in the world today? Think about that for just a minute. Take a look at your own lives. Take a look at your entire world. Look at your community. Your grass has to be a certain height. You have to have this type of paperwork on your vehicle. You have to be a part of a census. Think about this for just a minute. If you live in the United States, they do every year, they do what is known as a population control. It's known as a census to find out how many people live in that little district. Okay? Now, I'm reminded, Book of Leviticus, casting lots. Think about this for just a minute. Casting lots. Aaron cast lots. The calf or the two goats. The blooded goat was sacrificed to Azazel, and the other one was sacrificed to Jehovah. Serving two masters. Think about it for just a moment. Just think about that. Same thing, same bullshit, just a different era. How many phone calls do you get in a run of a day about car insurance for a car that you don't even own? Or perhaps, who are you going to vote for? It's just another way for control. Just like the COVID-19 thing, everybody is jumping in on it. Everybody's jumping in on that bandwagon because they want to be a part of something. Everybody's going one way. Why don't you grow up here and go the other way? Do your own thing. Become the individual. You see, Satanism has nothing to do with criminal activity. It has nothing to do with the world. It's all about devotion, wisdom, enlightenment, resilience. It has everything to do with you as the individual. Nothing to do with the world. But people are making it a part of the world. They want to make it to be the next JCI devil, the next JCI enemy, the bad guy. Started out with the COS, and now you got all these other little organizations popping up. The new radical Satanism, Reverend Cesar 999, or perhaps the TST, the Temple of Satan. Oh, we're anti this, we're anti that. We want to make sure that, well, guess what? Everybody gets a fair deal. To uphold your religious thing. Well, guess what? They claim it's about free will for everybody, having that fair equality, right? When it comes to political or religious sense. But yet in their video released yesterday, get this. I listened to the entire thing. If you're a part of their order, their temple, then you get that free right to do whatever you want. To believe the way you want to believe. To hell with everybody outside of them. Just like the COS. If you're not a part of their good old boys group, and you're buying in, if you're not buying into their propaganda, see ya. We're shunning you. Is that not JCI? Hebraic Systems speaking. Think about that for just a moment. Just think about it for just a moment. If you ask them for their help, they'll ignore you for like a week, maybe a couple of months, and all of a sudden hit you back and go, "Oh, your agenda and ours don't mix." Really, are you not currently going up against political leaders petitioning for equal rights within, say, parenthood? But yet you have a fellow Satanist way over here that's asking for your influence, your help. And yet nobody's lifting a finger for that. Think about that for just a minute. That's because this one way over here is not a part of their little organization. Therefore, see ya. We don't have time to waste on you. Do you know how many times I've seen this over 30 years? Do you know how many times I've seen the same old, same old? Hell, even Anton Szandor LaVey, a declared and renowned Satanist and devil worshiper, said, why should I go out and buy the latest product when I've already had it for the last 10 to 20 years? Why should I go out and buy the same product that I've had for years? The only difference is it's just repackaged, regurgitated, and wrapped up in a pretty new bow. It's the same old bullshit, the same old shit, and people are buying into it. In the meantime, you're blind about what's really going on behind the scenes. Have you ever wondered why the governments talk peace, but yet they're dropping bombs on other countries? Have you ever wondered why they're always being sworn in by the JCI Bible, not one of these other Bibles? Have you ever wondered why they have secret meetings and try to get away with bullshit? You got a town that's 15 miles wide. 15 miles. What the hell is a town of 15 miles going to do with 16 tennis courts when only 2 people in that entire town plays tennis? Think about that for just a moment. You would rather, each year, every district is given at least $1.5 million. $1.5 million. Now, I can't speak for other states. The one I'm currently in, a district is given $1.5 million, or at least $5 million. Okay? Every year. So what do? They utilize it on bringing tourists in, setting up new concert halls, building new buildings instead of utilizing the warehouses in the old stores that have been built to do. They're just sitting vacant. They just continue building, spending that money on shit that doesn't fucking matter. Meanwhile, you, as the pedestrian, the civilian, are paying an arm and a leg for your taxes. You're paying an arm and a leg for them to sit on their asses to do nothing. Your roads are falling apart. Potholes. This year alone, they've closed down at least 2 bridges that I know of and tore them down, claiming, oh, there was stress fractures in them. They haven't been rebuilt in 50 years. Well, 40 years. But yet I can name off 8 roads just within about 3 miles of where I'm at that really need repairs. But what are they doing? Oh, they're going to go here, 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 and here and work on water mains, sewer systems, not the roads that are dealt with on a daily basis for 24 hours a day. No. They'll apply that money everywhere but where it needs to be done. And that's true, Ashira. That's actually very, very true. And it's the same thing within religious foundations. You look at, for an example, today's occult world. They're making it all about sex. They're a lot of the Wiccan and pagan groups, at least the ones that I'm in. You can't even get on there without somebody begging for help. Oh, a friend has feelings for this other guy, and she's married. So what? It's natural. Get over it. Or you get these lazy motherfuckers that sit there and it's like, oh, please, I want to join you. I want to join Satanism. I'm willing to do whatever. Master, please help me. Why would I help somebody who doesn't want to get off their ass and do it themselves? Simple. My point is this. Everything nowadays has become about ego. It's become about popularity contest. It's become about numbers. It's just another form of JCI propaganda. That's all it is. And this is one of the reasons I don't get involved in things. It's one of the reasons I don't allow myself to be drug into other people's drama. On occasion, I've had to defend myself from time to time against stupidity, people who are trying to commit drama, fraud, perjury, even defamation of character. People out there attacking others because they've apparently got too much time on their hands. Why not become more constructive? You want things to change, then you as the people need to rise up and make those changes happen. The government works for you, not the other way around. Here in the US, you vote these idiots into office. You control them. Even the Constitution clearly says this. You have the power to impeach a government official. You have the power to rule the roost and tell the church to go fuck itself. You have the power to take back your country. But you don't. You sit there and you bitch about everything. And a lot of these people that sit there and bitch, piss, and moan are the same idiots that are voting for the other guy. You sit there and you go to these rallies, and wasn't it you who was filling their pockets with gold? Think about it. You get all these people giving to charities, like the police ball or these events that the cops put on. But yet, when the world is evolving, it gets dragged right back down into the muck because some idiot wants to make it about race, skin color, and people jump all over it. It's the same thing with religion. Oh, you're not of our coven, so we're going to shun you. You're not a Christian, therefore you're of the devil. Everywhere you look, you're going to see this commonality. You're going to see the same duality, the same brainwashing. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter if it's religious. It doesn't matter if it's Hollywood produced propaganda. It all began with the JCI, to which they are still utilizing these tactics that they have mastered over 2,500 years. You go back to the Roman times, they couldn't defeat the Druids, the Gaelic people, or the Europeans. because their faith in the Druids were so strong that they changed tactics and wiped out the Druids. They slaughtered them. But hey, let's do that flip thing. Let's go into Russia, to Russian witchcraft, instead of going after by force. No, this time around it was more psychological. They went after the minds and the hearts of the people because they knew that ruling the mind controls their hearts. That's why you see half of Russia pulling for the JCI. The other half are into neo-paganism, dealing with Russian witchcraft, sorcery, paganism, Wicca, even voodoo practices. But yet it's the only country that I know of and that I've come across outside of Africa and African-based traditions of religious foundations where both worlds work in harmony. But yet they sit there and they say, oh, I can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this can't be done, that can't be done, while forgetting their own scriptures. It's like, when are you going to wake up and smell the coffee? When are you going to step up and learn from history? There's a couple of old proverbs that I want you to listen to. The first one is this: a man who does not learn from history is doomed to repeat it. The second one is this: to give a man a fish feeds him for a day. To teach a man how to fish feeds him for life. Go back to the old ways, where the men and women of the keepers of the knowledge, the witch, the hexa, the agi, the strega, were the keepers of knowledge, just like the sage, the mage, in Middle Eastern traditions, not just European or African based. These people were highly valued, highly respected and feared. They were sought after because of the knowledge. They played the judge, the jury, and the executioner through conflicts. They were the mediums in between warring parties. They were the ones sought after for healing, for medical or counseling. They were the ones that were sought after for spiritualism. They were the ones who were the true keepers of knowledge. They associated with the spirits, they associated themselves with the gods, and they weren't a part of the stupidity and dogma of the world. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not getting involved. I'm going to do my own thing. I don't give two shits what you do. But if you're going to sit there and be stupid and hypocrisy, then you have no right to bitch, piss, and moan. Especially if you want to live in the muck like an ordinary person. You can either live in the muck, live in subdivisions through adversities, drama, herd conformity, or you can rise up as an individual and learn, evolve, and grow as a practitioner, as an individual person. But everything that I put forth here in this one video, I want you to take a moment and reflect upon. I want you to think about everything that you do in a run of a day. And then I want you to look at the world around you. Is this the type of world that you want to live in? Is this the type of world that you want your children to grow up in? Is this the type of world that you want to associate with? I want you to look at every aspect of your life, from what you watch on TV to who you're associating with. There seems to be a lot of people that have so much time on their hands, they want to live with drama. They want to create it. They feel the need to create drama. But nobody wants to sit there and actually make the changes. Nobody wants to make the choice of saying, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm putting this world behind me and I'm going to go over here and I'm going to do my own thing. I want to be that lone fish going against the tide. Nobody does it. It's always herd conformity. But until you've had enough of this stuff, you're going to continue on doing the same old, same old. You know, I find it interesting that Nicodemus predicted over 2,000 things. To date, today's date, only a small handful have come to fruition. Only a small percentage, half a dozen things. He predicted Hitler. He predicted the towers falling. But yet people believe in the JCI and their propaganda. They believe in the same old stupidity, the same issues that have been waging for hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, you go back to Sanskrit and you see the war between Belial and Michael. Come forward to Zoroastrianism, you have Ahura Mazda versus Ahriman. Tiamat, 10th century, versus Marduk. Lucifer versus Michael. Satan, today, versus Yahweh. Same old duality, same old drama. And yet everybody's trying to corrupt it. Everybody's trying to make it their own. When are you going to rise up? When are you going to actually make the changes? Grow up here and make your life your own. Take your destiny into your own hands and rise like the phoenix.